thank you all so much for coming out. In general, there's a lot of folks we want to give a chance to speak. We're going to hear from a couple of different perspectives, but first and foremost, I just want to thank all the neighbors who are out, most of them behind me. Thank you so much. Teachers, everyone. Of course, PNM crew, raise your hand. PNM crew, thank you guys. Nice. And city crew, got a big city crew out here too. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share a few words, and then we're going to hear a little bit from our PNM CEO, our county commissioner, our city councilor. And so a couple of things to start things off. You know, this project is one that has, it's been a long road. There's lots of long roads that we've all been down on different ways, but I want to tell you a little bit about this particular one, the quest for lighting. We know that all over Albuquerque, lighting has been a challenge. And actually, the past administration began by trying to swap out all of the old soda lights. Someone will go. Sodium chloride? Sodium lights. We started replacing all of those with LED lights, but there's an interesting thing in our city that is a reflection of our city's history. Mostly, the older lights in the older parts of town are really owned and operated essentially by PNM. And often those are the wood pole lights. That's kind of an easy way to distinguish them. And the metal pole lights are the cities. So the city was able to do the city. And that project is basically done. There's some different holes in that we are filling on that, but that's been a great success. And the question is, what do we do with these other lights? And I'm proud to say that as part of the One Albuquerque spirit, this notion that we've got to come together to finally deal with some challenges, even lights being out or lights not being upgraded to LEDs, we've got to work with our partners at PNM. And so I'm very grateful to the PNM team for all the work they put in with DMD and with our lawyers, and also the CEO for her guidance from the top to make this a reality. But what we are announcing today is that we are joining forces with PNM to convert basically 10,000 lights roughly over. These are mostly in our older areas, our older communities, over to these new LED lights, which of course are much more energy efficient, they're much brighter, and they also last a lot longer. So folks are going to share a little bit more of the specifics on this, but I also want to highlight two other things. I started on this project, even with Commissioner Maggie Hart-Stebbins, and you know, we are also announcing the last dollars being spent, hopefully, from when I was a state senator in this neighborhood. We put in money for lighting, and that money was used in some other areas in the International District across Louisiana, but we had a little bit left, and so we're going to put in, I believe it's 8 or 10 new lights. That's what's right here. And so these are going to be brand new lights in key high crime areas and also high community use areas. So you can see they're strategically located around parks throughout the International District, South San Pedro and Trumbull neighborhood. So these are going to be our best top of the line lights. And then one of the last chunks of money that we appropriated almost 10 years ago in the state Senate, we're going to get it spent right here for what it was intended to be spent on, which is lighting in the International District. So the last thing I would share with this, I think, is also about public safety. Some folks, everyone here understands this all too well, but for the general public, lighting is crucial to public safety. And it's one of the ways in which our built environment actually creates essentially social determinants for things like health and even sometimes things like activities with respect to crime. And so by increasing lighting, we're actually helping to make our communities safer. And that's something that in this area, in particular the International District, some of our older communities, they have the least amount of lighting and obviously some deep crime challenges. So we're trying to address crime from all sides. And in an interesting built environment way, part of that is really ramping up on lighting. And that's what this project is going to do all over town. So to hear more, to outline more of the details of this project, and some of the specifics, I'm going to hand it over to our CEO of PNM, who I also just want to mention, I think has had an amazing year. I think our community is seeing PNM dedicate our state and their efforts to renewable energy in the long term, and also to helping out literally in a block-by-block way with examples of this in terms of trying to actually change our lighting and make our community safer. And all of that, I'm sure, in many ways comes from the top. So the CEO of PNM, Pat Collawn.
Thank you, Mayor. And I have to tell you, the mayor is a much braver soul than I am, Mayor. I couldn't have gotten up in that bucket truck. You guys are good. And thank you to the PNM team. You guys rock. So thank you so much for making this happen. We appreciate it. So this has been a journey, but as Mayor Keller said, in his first few months of office, he called us and he reached out and he wanted to find some solutions, working together to improve the street lighting here in our neighborhoods. And you know, as a member of our community, we live and we work here. It's important to us that we have good lighting and that safety is a priority. So we wanted to work with the mayor to make this happen. And Mayor Keller has stepped up with his leadership so we could make this happen. You know, and today I'm pleased to tell you the technology in our industry is changing. These LED lights are part of it. That we're going to convert 11,000 street lights in the city of Albuquerque to LEDs. These are very, very energy efficient. And the city's going to get savings of $1.3 million annually on their electric bill, and I know that makes Lawrence happy. It also helps the city move towards its sustainability goals, which are very important to all of us, and as the mayor says, it also helps make the city safer. So we're working with our local contractor here, Bixby Electric, to convert these lights. The conversion began on April 15th. And it'll be done by the end of the year. Right now, I'm pleased to say we have more than 1,300 lights converted, and all of the lights in the International District have been converted. We started here first. So we just think that this is a win for everybody, sustainable, safe, money saving. One of the other things that we're working on at PNM is to make sure that our customers have an easy way to report to us when a street light is out. And we are proud to have a new tool on PNM.com. And you can report a streetlight outage now by going to PNM.com/streetlights and fill in the information and put it on the map so we can get that information so we can quickly get those into our system and make sure they get fixed. So again, great teamwork, working with the city, the county, Bixby Electric. Thank you all so much. These things don't happen without great teamwork. We appreciate it. We appreciate the mayor's leadership, and we appreciate the leadership of our next speaker, Commissioner Maggie Hart-Stebbins.
Good morning, everybody. I can't tell you how delighted I am to be here, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are here today from the International District who could not be more delighted that we are here today. I think the response for many of our hardworking, long-suffering families in the International District, I think the response to today's press conference is going to be, it's about time. I know that many of the individuals who are here who actually live in the International District have recognized this as a problem for a long time. As Senator Keller, well, now our Mayor Keller, mentioned 10 years ago, he and I participated in a town hall where this was identified as a very significant problem. You know, as the mayor said, it's a safety issue, it's a quality of life issue, and it's a determinant of health. When we have areas of this city, of the International District, that do not have adequate lighting, it allows criminal activity to flourish in those dark spaces. We have the highest rate of pedestrian fatalities in the International District, sometimes tied to poor lighting. We have families who don't want to go outside after dark because they don't feel safe. They don't want to be a victim of crime. They don't want to risk getting hit by a car. And they just don't feel safe. And they don't want their kids to go out and play after dark because they don't feel that it's a safe environment. So I think the fact that the leadership that is here today is a demonstration that you have finally gotten everybody's attention. So I applaud you for that. I applaud PNM for stepping up and taking leadership on this. You know, I still think of Mayor Keller as our new mayor. We have fabulous leadership from him that we have not had in the past. And certainly my counterpart, Councilor Pat Davis, has worked very diligently with us on this. We did get some of the capital outlay dollars spent. We worked with APD and with the community to identify where some of the new light locations would be. Those have been installed, and the county has money to contribute to this. So we continue to reach out to the community. I've worked with our new commander of the Southeast Heights substation, Johnny Yara, to identify locations, additional locations that are needed. And the county is certainly willing to be a partner in finding a solution. So again, I could not be more delighted to be here with all these people who are here to see this move forward. So again, thank you for the leadership on everybody's part. And I'm delighted to get to introduce Pat Davis, who has been a great partner on so many projects in the International District.
Thank you again to everybody who came this morning. I get the privilege of introducing a few special guests. And as Maggie said, this is something, and as the mayor said, this is something that this district has been working on for an awful long time. When I came to office almost 4 years ago, one of the first things that they asked me was, what can we do to restart that conversation about lighting in the International District? And I want to acknowledge when we sort of sat down and said, hey, wait, there's an old study from like 2010 that shows us where these need to be. This many are the cities, this many are PNMs. A lot of folks walked away from the table because it looked insurmountable. But the members of the International District Healthy Communities Coalition took that on as a challenge. And we committed to saying, if you'll help us do a survey, show us the lights that are out, show us the impact in the neighborhood, we'll help to build a program and a coalition that can help to restart that, to help spend the money that Mayor Keller, as a senator, had allocated 10 years ago that was still waiting to be used through some kind of dynamic plan. Some of the folks that really helped us do that are with us today, and I want to acknowledge them. Enrique Cardiel, who's now the Bernalillo County Health Coordinator, but our former Director of IDHCC. The Reverend Joanne Landry from Trumbull Neighborhood Association. Reina Juarez, who was here earlier with us this morning from ABC Community Schools in the IDHCC. Bernadette Hardy, who's our new IDHCC Interim Director. Mr. Tony Johnson, a great volunteer and leader in our neighborhood. Travis McKenzie, who's doing great garden work and youth work here. And John Bolton. Together, over the last year or so, before we announced these initiatives, the city took on, as the mayor said, under the old administration. As the council, I was proud to sponsor the legislation that finally implemented the plan that we've been working on for 3 years to close those gaps. In the city street lighting program. And the IDHCC folks helped us do that work to do the lighting survey and demonstrate how much it mattered. I want to say, Raina's not here with us. She had to go back to school, go back to work. But she was telling us a great story, and this is sort of the example. She lives on San Pedro, not far from Wilson Elementary School. And she said, I didn't know they were going to change out my light one day. PNM came by, they changed out our light, it got dark, and all of a sudden, these lights were on in the street. And for years, we didn't know we had a street light. And suddenly we thought somebody was pulling into our driveway and sitting in our yard. It turns out, when we looked out the window, we could see the street and everybody going by. And so our kids go out in the yard just to be able to spend some time outside after dark for the first time in I don't know how long. It means an awful lot, as Commissioner Hart-Stebbins said, in terms of how we invest in our community. But I think the message we want to take away here is it is no accident that this project, in partnership with PNM, started in the International District. Because the community organized for years with the legislature, with the city, with the county, and now with PNM to find a solution to a community problem. And under the mayor's leadership, our new One Albuquerque initiatives are doing just that. We're working with neighborhoods who want to work with us. And I can't say enough about Mayor Keller's leadership in the last couple of years, prioritizing and catching up for some of the lost years that we've seen in some of our underserved neighborhoods. More than $3 million in new sidewalks and streets here, now more than 1,300 new streetlights in these neighborhoods. We are catching up for lost time, and I can't wait to see what we get to do next. Thank you all.
Okay, so just to close things out, what I want to mention is first, I do want to give some recognition to the City Loom part of this. Mr. Wood is here. I think give us a wave. Thank you, City Loom, for all your work on the other polls. All right, so let me, I think, just close with this. You know, I was talking to Joanne about even this neighborhood, and I think overall, you know, our city, one of the things that I wanted to do, and one of the reasons why I ran for this office, was to try and invest in our underserved neighborhoods in ways that we haven't seen in decades. And I just was really heartened by what she said. You know, it was something to the effect of, you know, we haven't had our streets paved in 20 years, and now they're paved. We haven't had ADA access ever, now they've got it. We haven't had lighting in, you know, who knows how long, and now they have it. this is the beginning of all the kinds of things we've got to do and we're doing in other underserved areas around town. And it's because of the neighborhood who has taught all of us. I know Maggie and Pat and I, these neighbors and these community leaders, we really owe all of this to you. This is a reflection of your determination. And so thank you for that. And more to come. Next time we'll talk library and police station. All right. Thank you very much.